So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
We are asked to determine if the two linear functions are inverses of one another. Remember, inverse functions undo each other. So looking at the two functions, we have f of x equals 4x plus 3 and g of x equals x divided by 4 minus 3. So by looking at the operations of the two functions, it does appear as if they would undo each other, because notice how the function f multiplies the input by 4 and then adds 3, and the function g of x divides the input by 4 and subtracts 3. But if functions are inverses, f of g of x must equal x, and g of f of x must equal x. And graphically, the two functions must also be reflections across the line y equals x. So to check to see if these are inverses, let's first determine the composition f of g of x. We will first substitute x divided by 4 minus 3 for g of x, which gives us f of the quantity x divided by 4 minus 3. And now the input into the function f is going to be x divided by 4 minus 3, and because f of x equals 4x plus 3, f of the quantity x divided by 4 minus 3 is going to be 4 times the quantity x divided by 4 minus 3, and then we still have plus 3. And now let's simplify and see if we get x. If we get x, then we'll also have to check g of f of x. If we don't get x, we are done. The two functions are not inverses. So let's go ahead and distribute the 4 to clear the parentheses. 4 times x divided by 4 is x. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, giving us minus 12. And then we have plus 3. Negative 12 plus 3 is negative 9. F of g of x is x minus 9. And since f of g of x does not equal x, the functions are not inverses. So we can't always tell whether functions are inverses just by looking at their operations. And because f of g of x did not equal x, we don't have to check g of f of x. But before we go, let's take a look at the graph of f of x and g of x on the coordinate plane, as well as the line y equals x. F of x is graphed in blue, g of x is graphed in red, and y equals x is graphed in green. Notice how if we were to fold f of x across the line y equals x, it would not match up perfectly with g of x, which graphically shows the functions are not inverses of one another. I hope you found this helpful.